every time with this screen. I don't know what's going on. We go off to the picture, we come back, and we're all discombobulated.
It's like all over.
Yeah, good evening, ladies. How are you?
Doing well. How are
W-
you?
I'm fantastic. I just need a new back. Anybody recommend a bacchiotomy?
No,
I think I need one.
I highly do not recommend anything that ends with OMY.
How about just a new back? Can I get a new back?
No, I've asked for that. They wouldn't give me one either. So I just have to renew the one that I have, which would be highly recommended for you too.
Damn it all to hell. Anyway, we have the lovely Miss Jodi and Dr. Mel with us tonight, and they're going to be talking about all kinds of cool stuff. So, as I like to say, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. With that being said, I'm out. See ya.
He's so fast to be like, deuces. Hey, everybody. Good evening. I know. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Convene Communities podcast. And yes, you're not on the wrong podcast if you don't see Matthew Curran. We just took over for him. I'm often called the female Matt, so it's all good. We're good here. But we are going to go over the health and wellness community tonight. We have the amazing Dr. Mel on here, and I'm grateful that she came in. She kind of went full speed ahead once she, kind of started learning everything, and she and I had worked together to kind of get her started, get her foot in the door. And so I wanted to kind of ask you, Mel, share a little bit of your story, but then, kind of go into why you came to Convene and what it's done for you so far.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Jodi. When I first heard about Convene, it was just a straight sprint because I've never entered a platform that I felt more compatible with. It just shared all the values that I was looking for. It's like I always tell people, if you're unsure about something, think about it and like sit on it, sleep on it. Don't make decisions unless you're absolutely sure. But with Convene, I was just absolutely sure it was the right platform for me. So I completely just like went full word when I met Matt, because he just shared a lot of the same values as I did. Yeah. But a bit about my story, since you asked. I was a 3-sport athlete in high school, and I ended up playing softball in college, and it really aligned with my profession as exercise science major. I've always had a passion for sports and physical well-being, but really, when I went into college, I had a lot of injuries, and it really went into more of a physical therapy passion, healing people's pains. When I actually learned how to heal myself, I felt like the urge of helping others. So when I went into the doctorate program, I still had that mindset of helping people with sports injuries. And until the closest person in my life passed away, my grandmother, is when it really changed paths for me, where I decided to work with more of elderly and the geriatric population, because she passed away from a fall. And there's so many people who at that age are isolated, don't have anybody around them. She was a widow, lost her son and one of her sons, and also her husband. So she was home alone at the time with help. So it really steered me to the home health field, where I can go and help people in their homes that don't have help. So instead of there's this gray area between the hospital and getting back to an outpatient clinic, where you're stuck at home. You're stable enough to be out of the hospital, but you're not stable enough to be able to get to an outpatient clinic. And a lot of these people need the rehabilitation still, but are stuck in their homes and unable to get the help they need. So what I do now is I'm a director of rehab, and I help facilitate care to people in these homes that aren't able to get to an outpatient facility. And I was just looking for a carryover after I saw my patients in the home. Their insurance may have ran out. and they're making a lot of progress, but they still don't feel completely safe to make it to outpatient. I wanted a space where they can come virtually, that they didn't have to leave their home to get to the clinic. They can still get access to me via video. And I've only started this, not as long as Jodi has, but I've only started this over the last year and a half. And I've already made over 150 videos for my clients. I helped build the platform with Jodi, where we have experiences that people can take. I even have a fall prevention course as well. But I don't want to go crazy into it yet. I want Jodi to please explain how she got to Convene. She's been there a bit longer than me. She's also an author and been in the virtual space. And she has so much knowledge for you guys to hear.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I actually met Matt in 2020. I was led to him by Lisa Herring, who found me in a veteran Facebook group, right? And at that time, I had just published my book, Reclaim Your Life, where I go over mindset, time management, self-care, nutrition, exercise, and consistency. So that's basically my whole health coaching program. So I put it in a book, and it's a spiritual book because I was going through my spiritual journey coming out of depression at that time. So when I published the book, my plan was, I always say God laughs at my plans because his are bigger, but my plan was I was going to do book signings and workshops and all the things, right? And then what happened March of 2020? Everything shut down, right? Now, I will say I'm grateful because my company, To Be Epic Fitness and Nutrition LLC, is an online coaching platform. So I've been doing that since 2016, and then I established it officially in 2017. So I was already kind of familiar with the online coaching space, but it was an app. I wasn't familiar with like courses and all those things. But I did want to make my book into something else, right? Like I just didn't know how to do it. And there was so many different avenues out there, and it really just became overwhelming trying to figure it out. And so I'm really grateful that Lisa found me and kind of led me to Matt and just said, get on a call with him. And I didn't even know Lisa, right? So I talk about like, sometimes like what you said, right? Like sometimes you're not really sure, but sometimes it's like everything in you is just like, okay, this can't be coincidence, right? Like this can't be coincidence. And so I got on a call with him and I never left after that call. That was the most, he already knows. So, it was like he saw me and I felt very unseen at that time. I was trying to kind of restart my business and trying to kind of figure out how I even wanted to structure my business at that point. And he just saw me and I was like, what? Right? Like, and he didn't let me go. And that was the best part. I was straying because I didn't understand Convene, right? So I'm trying to pay the bills. I'm trying to bring in the income. And so I was kind of straying but I always kind of came back. And his son actually built my first course. So that's why I like to pay it forward, right? Because that happened for me. I didn't really understand it. And, but I would get on calls with his son and he would go over it, so he was basically, his son was coaching me at that time. And so we built out my first course, which I've redone it now and separated the modules, but that's what we did. And like I said, I've never left. I had no reason to leave. You came, some other people, we got Kate, we got all these other amazing people. And now my beautiful friend Denise is on there. And it's just like, we're just building it. And I'm just like, this is my family. I belong. And I don't have a lot of family. So a little bit of my backstory, I'm not going to go too far into it, but I was an athlete as well. I went to college and I was going for sports and exercise science. And then when I got out, I couldn't afford to keep going. And so I ended up in the Air Force. And in the Air Force, I was actually in between Air Force and Marines, which this is Matt and I had talked about this and he laughs. But my Marine friends told me not to go in the Marines at that time. So, but I was going to go in the Marines because I wanted to stay in shape. So, but I went in the Air Force and I ended up working on the flight line. So that was completely opposite of what I was doing, right? Well, full force. My mom ended up getting sick. She developed MS, multiple sclerosis, in 2003. She got diagnosed. Um, I was deployed at the time, but it just progressively started getting worse. So I had to start learning what this MS thing was because I had never heard of it. My family is plagued with Alzheimer's, so that was something I was very familiar with. My grandmother passed away from it. My favorite aunt passed away from it. So I was very versed in the Alzheimer's space, but not multiple sclerosis. It was kind of not really heard of back then. So anyway, I had to learn, fast forward a few years later, I had to learn how to do exercises with my mom. I had to also learn how to get her off some of the medications that were really killing her. And so that's how I learned nutrition. I began to learn nutrition for brain health. I took pharmacology, even though I didn't have to. I took pharmacology because I was like, I need to figure out what these medications are and what they do and how they interact with each other. And that's really how I started kind of getting back into the body space, right? But I was really, I planned on going into the medical field. That was my path that I thought I was going to take. Looking back now, I'm grateful I didn't, because I wouldn't have belonged. I wouldn't have made it. I wouldn't have lasted. I don't conform very well, and they would have hated me. So I know that now. But it is interesting how, we start somewhere, we might take a huge break, right? And then we end up kind of right back where we started. But I kind of got even more versed in things. I started, I became a personal trainer because I had 5 surgeries and I needed to learn how to continue after physical therapy. So I was working with all the physical therapists, right? Learning all kinds of stuff because I'm a sponge. I'm like, yes, give me more, give me more. But what happened after, right? So I was like, okay, let me go get my certification. Back then we had to take an in-person class. It wasn't the online stuff that they have now. So I actually had a woman, she was a doctor of exercise science, and she taught our class, and she was she was amazing. She made sure that we knew everything we needed to know as far as like a personal trainer standpoint should go. And that's kind of what started my journey. That was 2013. I was a group fitness instructor. I went into personal training. I became a nutrition specialist. And then I was just like, supplementation. I need to learn this. I need to learn this. I need to learn. And I just kept going with it, and I never stopped. And so now, kind of fast forward even more, I'm focusing a lot more on mindset because I'm in my mental health journey. And I know how important that is. So I tell people all the time, like when I was physically fit, I was mentally falling apart, but I didn't know, to be honest, until it was just like crash and burn. So everything that I do it really starts here, and then it just kind of filters down. So I do have my own community, but of course I'm putting stuff in the health and wellness community so we can grow that out. I got the accountability group, and then I've got some recipe packs. A lot of people struggle with, healthy recipes and stuff like that. So I have like regular, and then I have vegan. There's 30 to 40 recipes in each one. And so that's kind of what I'm doing so far. So we're looking for more people though. Now we're like, all right, who's ready to join? Right?
Yeah, I think now we've really been able to establish our own groups, and we've been able to build a platform to really be very educational for people in what we know, but there's also things that we don't know. Even though Jodi has nutrition, physical powerlifting, you have everything, certifications in personal training, an author, mindset.
I don't know everything. I don't know everything.
We still don't know everything, even though we've tried to. We've had
well, the biggest thing too, one of the things that I always, and I was talking to someone else about this earlier, is like, I'm not the coach for everyone. Like I might be, me and someone else might literally have the same exact program, but I might hit a different audience than they do, right? So we're still dividing and conquering, and there's no comparison. It's pure collaboration.
Yeah, exactly. God made us all unique for that reason, so we can impact different people. And that's why we just want other people to be able to help us build this beautiful platform. It's the way I kind of explain it to people when I first introduce them to Convene. Think of a public library. There's books from many authors. So We're trying to build the health and wellness community, and that's our library. And we need lots of books. We need lots of people, lots of different experiences, because it's not enough to have 5 books by me and 5 books by Jodi. We need thousands of books to reach millions of people, and that's our goal. Truly our goal.
I want to say hey to everybody that's on here real quick. And Kate put in here, I mean, this was a really good thing that I want to make sure we kind of harp on too, is she said Convene creates a psychologically safe space to reflect, learn, and collaborate with others. It is optimal environment for personal growth and development. Yes, that first part, the psychologically safe space, we are not on social media, right? We're getting away from social media. So we are in a safe space. You can post anonymously, and there's always going to be a support system, right? So I know in a lot of Facebook groups, I've heard these things. Somebody posts, and I've seen it in some veteran Facebook groups, where somebody will post something and it's like an attack. There's always one, there's always one that has something negative to say. And I'm like, you know what? We don't need this. We don't need this. So over in Convene, like, everybody's vetted. We refer each other. So you have to refer somebody to come in. I refer somebody to come in, and we do have the ability for them to come in through the website, but they still have to have a conversation with somebody.
Right.
You know, so everybody is safe. We have teens on here. We got kids. I got a 14-year-old, so that's important for me. You know, and so this is a safe space. This is not scrolling highlight reels. We're not doing that right here. We're actually learning, and we are creating a safe space for people to come in and be supported and encouraged. So
yeah. I don't think we can come on here without talking about the other communities available as well. So yeah, me and Jodi help build the health and wellness community. Jodi has her own personal community, but even Kate, who chimed in, has a safe space for parents and young adults as well. So there's really something for everyone on
there
Convene.
is. Yeah, there's a ton. Yeah, you guys, you know, if you pop on, you know, if you get sent a link for a specific community, I highly, highly encourage you to go over and check out all the rest of them. You know, we have, I'm also a co-community leader for the Invest With Her Club, which is a women's real estate investing community, and we're building that out, you know, and so there's really something, like you said, there's something for everyone. Matt's got the mental wellness community back up, which that's near and dear to my heart right now. You know, we have a women's community. Kate's doing amazing things in there as well. We have a writing community. I'm a writer, so I love that. Right. And so there's so many different ways. You know, Lisa teaches SSDI for veterans. Like, she helps veterans get more money, Social Security, disability, right? And then we have a military and veteran community. Like, there's literally something for everyone, and all it takes is for you to come in, though, and interact. Don't just sit there. That's what we ask from you. Please don't just sit there and wait. We want you to actually come in and engage and interact. And, you know, Matt always says, be seen, heard, and validated, right? That's what we want to do for you when you come in.
Right. And you might not have something that you're passionate about building right off the start. Like, I'm coaching a client right now. She came to me for just to get more physically fit and work on her flexibility and pain management. And now she's actually starting to build a skincare group. So
yes,
when you take care of yourself and get some coaching and get rid of your pain or whatever is bothering you at this moment, it actually saves mind space. It brings more mind space, and you may have a different idea. You grow, and then you expand, and then you want to do something to serve others. Yeah. So you may come in just to look at the resources and help other people find resources, and then you decide, because you're around other people who are doing great things, you end up finding a purpose and finding something that you want to build.
Yeah. And a lot of people, and this is where, and Matt will tell anybody, I struggled because I was like, but I want to do one-on-one, right? Like, I was really passionate about the individual coaching. And yes, there is a place for that. We do need the one-on-one sometimes, the customization, right? But we can reach so many more people if we have the ability to have a group, and then we can still spend that same hour or however long, but now we can help 200 people instead of one, right? And then out of those 200 people, maybe we have 2 or 3 that actually want to work with us one-on-one, and then we can kind of go separate into that. But we're still helping so many more people. And so I get a lot of questions personally, and you might get this too, where it's like, yeah, but in person allows you to build those relationships. Well, you guys, I'm gonna tell you, since I started my online coaching thing, I still can build personal relationships, right? There's people I haven't even met. I mean, look, I was with Convene for what, 2 years before I even met some of the people, and but we were still family. We still came together and helped each other. And so yes, I do believe in the in-person too, because when we did come together, that was amazing, right? The energy was just like, ugh. But we can still get stuff done and we can help so many people. And when we go online, now we're worldwide. We're not just in our little small city, right? We're not trying to be all over the place all the time. We're actually able to target people worldwide just by using technology, right? How has that helped you? Because you had a transition from that, right?
Yeah, 100%. So I still do in-person stuff, but this is definitely a supplement to it, right? It's a great way to network. Like you said, I actually found Irene through online YouTube videos. So like as I started making YouTube videos, she saw me that way. And she's actually local to me.
That's
So
awesome.
that's what's cool. So I saw her for a couple of visits in person as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it all came through online, which
Yeah.
is funny. So it's a great networking tool too. You meet people from other parts of the world, but you may even cross paths with somebody local that you can see somebody in person if you still feel like doing things in person. So it's good for businesses, whether you're all virtual or semi-virtual and semi in person, or just all in person, but you just want to network with other people.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. It's great. Like, and it's kind of considered like a hybrid model, right? Where you can definitely do the in-person stuff, like keep doing your stuff, but just have this, Matt always says, like, this is a resource. This is
yeah,
just a resource. It allows us to, if I get on a Zoom call now, back like before, I would get on a Zoom call and then that just went away, right? Or maybe I put it on YouTube, but then it just kind of goes away. Now I can save that YouTube video. I can bring it over onto Convene. I can put it as like an experience or something else. And now it's there forever. And this is the one thing that I tell people. And you kind of talked about this a little bit when you were talking about the population that you work with. But here's the thing: it doesn't matter how old we are. Our days are numbered, right? Like nobody knows. Nobody knows. All right. I am not wishing that on anybody. I don't want to go, but nobody knows. Okay. So for me, the value is I am able to put this stuff into a place that, God forbid, if I have to go early, I know Mel's going to take it and run with it. I know Matt's going to take it and run with it. I know probably Brenda or Kate, or right. Somebody is going to come in and still get that stuff out there.
yeah,
We're leaving a legacy at that point. It doesn't just go away with us, right? Like Matt talks about in corporations, he talks about, what happens when your expertise walks out the door? How did you save that knowledge? Well, most people don't, right? I'm around some really smart people these days, and I'm just like, I need you to save your knowledge somewhere, right? Like, can you please do videos and save it somewhere? So that way, 5 generations from now, they can still come in and watch your videos,
right.
you know?
And also like the big thing too, if for me, like I was used to being a director, but I wasn't used to running my own business and when I was starting to get private clients, I didn't quite have the time. I wanted to run it right, but I didn't have the business background to run it properly. And I love the convenience of Convene where it's all in one place. You get the 1099 at the end of the year where you can submit for taxes. It's something that just takes that off my shoulders, you know what I
Yes.
mean? So I don't have to do all that back end work, especially as a newly entrepreneur who doesn't have an assistant and doesn't have other employees yet. I just wanted to be able to take on clients privately, but doing it right. And
Yeah.
Matt was able to help guide me through that, and Convene made it a safe space where I knew I was doing it correctly.
Yes. Yeah.
And a new
Everybody's
mom.
frustrated. And a new mom, yeah. Now she's a new mom. It's funny, Doc just kind of chimes in whenever he wants to.
Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
That was so funny. Yes, Matt, that was one of my questions. So Matt kind of went ahead of me. And Omar, thank you for that. I see your comment. He said, Jodi helped me be a better trainer. Oh, thank you.
Slow your roll, Matt.
I know. Matt, I gave Doc a list of questions. He's just being slow tonight, okay?
I'm not being slow. I can't get a word in here with you two. Are you kidding me?
What are the list of questions that I gave you, Doc?
I don't know how to read. No, this is for either one of you. What's your vision for the health and wellness community?
Go ahead, Mel.
So I think I kind of touched on this a little earlier, but we really want knowledge from multiple health and wellness coaches. So I'm a physical therapist, Jodi's a personal trainer. We would love a chiropractor. Even we're getting into skincare now. Anything in the wellness space. I would love to have a therapist in the health and wellness community. I would love people from all different fields of wellness. And everybody telling their story, making experiences for people to learn from, writing blogs. I can really see this building out to a worldwide community where people from all over the world can come to and get information from all different healthcare professionals, but also people who maybe aren't a healthcare professional and just want to share their wellness story, something they've overcome, to help share with others.
Yeah. What do you tell people? And I don't know if you get this, but I get this all the time. Well, I just want to have a Facebook group. What do you tell people when they say that?
Oh, think bigger.
Thank you. Think bigger. I like that. I like that. Yeah, because I mean, the Facebook groups are great, right? We have them, right? But what do you do after? Like, stuff just gets lost. And I'm sorry, but I don't feel like learning algorithms. I just don't. When we put an announcement out, like if we put an announcement out in the health and wellness community, everybody that's in there, as long as they have their notifications turned on, they're going to get a notification, right? So we don't have to fight against algorithms, which is great for me. I don't want to. I'm not. That is not my lane. I might know a lot, but that is one I don't know. All right.
I got another question for you.
What's up?
First off, I can't spell algorithms, so we're going to skip right past that. But so you're both educated, right? Very educated.
I think so.
Since you are so educated, discuss the role of education and empowerment within the health and wellness community. And what resources do you guys plan on providing for your clientele?
That is a really great question, Doc.
Man.
When are you coming up with these?
Sometimes I got it, sometimes I don't. I can't reveal my sources.
Mel, do you want to go? Do you want to answer first on that? Go ahead.
First, okay. I want the last one.
All right. I'm trying to make sure I share, gotta share the space. I know for me, like, as far as the education piece, like, I'm only one person. So, if I really want to help, honestly, millions of people, like, that would be great. I know that I'm not going to really be able to do that in an effective manner if I don't have other resources on there. So as far as the education piece, having our courses on there, having modules, and these are not click through. I had one client, I had to kind of get on her. I said, no, take your time. This isn't what you're used to. Like, and she did. She slowed down and she was just like, yes, But as far as the, and then we have the document management, we have, if we have teams, we have the project management. And honestly, I think I forgot the rest of the question, but
I don't remember it either.
Empowerment. It's funny. I was like, oh, I have the questions right in front of me. Empowering other people just by sharing our story. I had no idea. And I will say, I'm going to give Matt a lot of credit here because he helped me tell my story. He was really helping me tremendously. Because when I first came to Convene, I didn't even know how to tell my story. I wrote a book and I was a writer, so I could write things. Like, that was easy. I've been writing since I was a kid. But for me to kind of be vulnerable, I wasn't ready to do that. I hadn't really healed from a lot of things. So as far as from that standpoint, this place allows us to be vulnerable. Nobody's judging anybody. We've all been through stuff. And the more we share our stories, what I realized was I'm able to help people on a whole nother level that I didn't even know I could help them on. I was so focused on like the nutrition and the fitness and, and then I put in the mindset and the time management and stuff like that. But I didn't realize that, like, well, let me tell the backstory of why I got into nutrition. Let me tell the backstory of why I got into exercise, why I became a personal trainer. That's the stuff that matters. And then when I went into like the mental health stuff, like talking about PTSD and depression and things like that, and suicidal tendencies, right? I had no idea that being that vulnerable could open the door for other people like it did. I mean, I would get private messages, and I get private messages on Convene sometimes, and because not everybody wants to share in the community, and that's okay. But we're allowing other people to understand that they are not alone. And we have to have more people, because my story is not going to resonate with everybody. Your story is not going to resonate with everybody. But if we have more people coming together and sharing their story, oh my God, we're going to be able to help so many more people, right?
Right. Yeah. People don't, I feel like a lot of the times people don't realize that other people are struggling. And by everybody sharing their struggles, they realize that nobody's any different. Everybody has to overcome something.
Right. Yeah. And honestly, for me, it helped me because I always felt like I had to put on like this, I don't want to say put on the mask, but kind of, because, like people would look at me and it would be like, oh, because eventually I got into bodybuilding. And so it was like, oh my God, you're in bodybuilding, your shape, whatever. But mentally, I said earlier, like mentally I was falling apart. Right. But nobody can see that part. You can see the outside, the physical appearance. And so, I wasn't able to relate to a lot of people, or they wouldn't even give me a chance. It saddened me because I was just like, dang, you're not even giving me a chance. I had a story, like I had to start from somewhere too. I didn't just wake up and start doing all this stuff. Right. So it's just, we have to be open to allowing ourselves to be vulnerable and be willing to understand that everybody does have a story, and what you see in front of you doesn't tell the story that's behind them that got them there. Like you have a story.
Right. 100%. I couldn't agree with you more. And the way we can share our story is through the experiences that we talk about on Convene. And the experiences are great because there's different ways you can tell your story, right? And Matt really designed the experiences for everybody to tell their story in their own way. You can the lesson learned after your story. You can ask questions. There's space for reflection and discussion. And it's a safe space, like Jodi said. Like you can even respond anonymously if something really impacts you, but it still feels too vulnerable for you to share face to face. You can leave your response completely anonymous, and it is just such it helps your mental health when you share, when you can vocalize what you're feeling and you can share it with somebody else who's gone through a similar experience. So it really helps get you through a new level. Like when Matt first pulled my story out of me, I remember just taking laps.
He's
around.
really good at that. Matt, you are really good at that. That's why I send everybody I know to him. I'm like, just go to him first. Like, we'll work together later, but go talk to Matt first.
You do realize you're making his head huge, and he's not going
That's
to be able
okay.
to get out the
I
door.
probably have already done that. I mean, I've known him for a few years, and I hype him up pretty well. So I probably already done that. I wanted to just say real quick, because Lenny made a really good comment too. He said exercise and inner size go hand in hand with everybody being an individual. Everybody has different goals. We as healthcare professionals or trainers are not here to set their goals for them, but to help guide them to achieve their goals and feel part of the team. That's awesome,
Wow.
Lenny. Thank you so much. That is just, that's it right there. Like, we can mic drop on that one, right? Like,
All right, good night, everybody.
I know, right? Like, we're good. That's the end of the podcast, right? Like, we got to get Lenny on one of these. But
like, we need Lenny on here.
I know we need Lenny on, but yeah, that's so true. And, I would do it, we were talking about kind of the one-on-one, like I did get really close to my one-on-one clients, because once we developed a good relationship, and anybody in any services business, I think we become kind of a therapist, quote unquote, right? Like, even though we're not technically the therapist, we end up being that. And so I realized with myself, and this is kind of some self-awareness, is when people trust me enough to open up to me, I tend to be okay with opening up to other people, right? So I can have conversations. I mean, I'm making sure they're getting their workout done, right? but we could have those conversations as I'm counting reps, right? Like, as I'm showing them what to do. And so I was able to do that one-on-one, but it was very difficult when it came to doing that in front of a lot of people, right? So talk about your journey with that. You said Matt pulled your story out. So how did that go?
I'm the same one. I'm like, it's very hard for me to vocalize. I'm a good listener. I like to listen, but for me to actually get my story out there, it was really tough for me at first. I've evolved a long way to get to this point that I'm actually live on a podcast.
Right.
But it took us about 30 minutes until I could even speak.
Yeah.
To tell my story. And yeah, a lot of tears, a lot of things that I didn't even realize what my story was. I found out my story from him pulling it out. I realized how connected everything was and what really made me want to do what I'm doing.
Yeah.
He really he helped me find my why.
Yeah.
And now and that's what made me go full force afterwards.
Yeah. He said we did take some laps together. That's funny. And I'll say, because Doc was like, don't make his head too big. Matt helped me tremendously, but I will also say it took other people coming on and sharing their story too. Because back then we had, a lot of other people, and everybody was kind of telling a little bit, not everything, right? But the more people would say stuff, I was like, oh, I can relate to that. And I'm just silently saying that, right? I'm just like, I can relate to that. Yeah, I dealt with that, similar, right? And so that actually helped me formulate my story too, because it was just like, oh yeah, that is why I started this. And, it's like, it's kind of like those reminders, right? Because I think sometimes we just get into those of us that are doing these things, right? Like, we just kind of get into that and we're just doing it. We might not always think about the fact that we need to share why we're doing it, but that's important, because that's how we find our people. Like I said, I'm not the coach for everybody. You're not the physical therapist, right? There's 50 million personal trainers and nutritionists out there. There's 50 million physical therapists out there. So what's going to make people resonate with you? Your story. What's going to make people resonate with me? My story, right? So again, that's why it's so important for us to build this out, because since everybody has their own individual story, they might overlap a little bit, but I've always wanted to have a team around me. Like, I never wanted to be the only trainer, right? Like, I've always wanted to have a team around me, because that way, if somebody comes to me, and I mostly focus on women in strength training anyway. So if a male comes to me, I want to have a male that I can send them to, right? Like, or somebody that I think that might kind of align a little bit better, right? So that's the thing with me is I'm like, okay, how many personal trainers can we get on here? How many physical therapists can we get on here? How many, like you said, chiropractors can we get on here? Because even in chiropractic care, and I know this because I'm a patient, it's different, right? Like there's some people that do manual. There's, I have a little thing that hits me right here barely, and I'm magically fixed, like, and that's how I prefer it. So we have to find kind of who works better for us. But we need
Right.
numbers for that.
Right.
I don't want it to just be me on there as the personal trainer or you on there for the as the physical therapist. Let's see how many more people we can bring on. And then we have this amazing referral program where we refer each other and we all win. We're all going up.
And that's why we started the collab group inside
Mm-hmm.
this community for us coaches to come together and share ideas, which is great because we always can
Yes.
share tricks and tips that work with different clients. So it even
Yes.
helps you grow in your own profession because you can steal things from other healthcare professionals that have done things differently.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
like oh yeah, we also do wellness calls for new coaches who are interested to coming in as well, and we do those on Thursdays at 4:30. But you can always reach out to Jodi and I. We're always willing to help hop on a call privately as well. But
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
always try to make myself available every Thursday at 4:30 to welcome new members.
Yeah, yeah, and I should be able to hop on those now. I think I've had an appointment here and there, but now that we have it, I'm like, okay, I can work around this, right? So
Yeah.
let's see, what is Lenny said? I've known Melissa since she was 8 years old, and besides rehabbing her injuries from early on and coaching against her soccer teams before she came into mine, she's always been motivated and driven from a positive standpoint. Don't you love hearing stuff like that? I do.
So sweet. Yeah. So
It makes
Lenny.
it's like, oh, you're pulling at my heartstrings. I told a couple people that today, actually.
I feel
So
like
Lenny.
such a loser in this company here. Wow.
Oh, stop. You're running a podcast for crying out loud. Come on.
Certainly not running.
Well, you're keeping it going. How's that? You got it started and you're keeping it going. That's good
Fair,
enough.
fair enough.
Do you
Sorry,
guys
Mel.
want to open it up for questions from anybody out there? If anybody wants to chime in and ask any questions, please do. Um, as far as like strategies, I'll just say this real quick. I definitely kudos to you, Mel, for starting that call because that is a great strategy to implement because, we have the Monday night calls, but it's nice to have just a community call because now we can really target those health and wellness professionals and be like, okay, come here today at 4:30, right? Like, so
Yeah.
definitely kudos to you for that. I appreciate you doing that.
It's a great way to show the platform and how it works. I know there's so many things that people sign up for. There's Instagram, Facebook, there's all these social media platforms, and a lot of people don't want to dive into something new, but it's so different and it's a great way to share it without them actually entering in so they feel
Right.
comfortable before joining.
Yeah. And one thing, and Matt has a question, so I want to make sure I get on that. But one thing that I do tell people, and I'm sure you do too, is like, yes, the platform has a lot to it, but you only have to use it for what you need it for in that moment. You will eventually learn more, right? Like I was honestly, I was just doing blogs and experiences at first. Like I said, Matt's son built out my course. So so I was just doing blogs and experiences, and I didn't have my own community at that time either. So it's just kind of evolved into what it is now. But just like in our wellness journeys, people see what they see and they're like, they don't know the backstory, right? They don't know that like Jodi Watkins has zero, she's not tech savvy. Okay. Okay, so Matt says, tell how Lenny has been a strong mentor to you in your life as a physical therapist. Yes.
So yeah, I was actually going to say that before when Lenny commented that I was that he met me at 8 years old. So I had sports injuries in high school, and Lenny was my physical therapist. as well as my intramural soccer coach. So I was able to see Lenny treating all the people on our team and
That's
help
awesome.
me as well. So it was just his passion for helping others and healing other people is what drew me into the profession. So that's what I mean by what community can really help you grow and help you find your purpose and find your passion. Because when you're in a community where nobody around you is doing something that inspires you, you're not going to grow and you're not going to figure out what you want to do. But if you come to a community like Convene and you're around other people doing things they're passionate about and helping people on levels you can't even imagine, it's going to drive you and give you motivation to succeed and do more.
Yeah.
And that's what Lenny did for me.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I think we all have, like, I had, I think about my basketball coach. She was that person for me. Like, she was my mentor. She made sure I got to all the games. She made sure I got, and then she was the track coach too. So if you played basketball, you had to run track, right? Like, but she was the one who got me through. And I think it's so important to, and you still keep in contact with him, which is amazing. I still have contact with her. She's here in Jacksonville as well. And, it's just so awesome to have those connections. I've met some great people here. And it's funny, I was telling the physical therapist that I'm working with, which she'll get over here. Y'all give me some time, but keep throwing them seeds. But I was telling her, I was like, this is where you find real people. We're finding real people that actually want to work together, because people will say it all the time and be like, yeah, I want to build this amazing thing and do all these things, but who's taking action? We are, right? Like, so y'all can keep talking, but while y'all are talking, we could be over here building, right? Like, so for me, I'm just like, hey, where are the action takers? I know they exist. And who's ready to get to work? Who is ready to really create impact for the rest of the world, and to leave their knowledge behind for however many generations come after us? Where are those people? And when we find those people, we're off to the races. It's gonna be so amazing.
It's scary to think that you never know when your last day is, right? I see more of it like, and you could be having all this experience, this knowledge, but it never being shared, put in place to be shared. And I think that's what life's all about, is sharing knowledge with others, helping other people grow. And if you just let your knowledge go to the wayside, it's not a life well lived.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah. And I mean, and granted, most people don't even know that this exists yet. We're going to say that, Matt, don't worry. Yet. We'll say it really loud. Okay. So a lot of people don't even know that this is a possibility for them. And so it's really important for us to really just share this to the masses. Everybody that's on here in the chat, like, please just share this. If you're on Convene and you're a qualified affiliate, share your referral link. So that way, if you bring somebody to the platform, that's so how tired I am, the platform, and they go and, purchase Mel's course or whatever, you get paid for it too. And it's not about the money necessarily. It's just about sharing value, right? We're sharing each other's value, and that's the beauty of it, right?
Yeah, and not everybody has to be a paid member. You can join today for free and look around and see if you enjoy it. And then you can even create a group inside the health and wellness community today for free and see if you like it. That's how I started, actually. I went into the health and wellness community. I started creating my group. Matt helped me build it, and then I fell in love with it, and I
yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, if you come into the health and wellness community, is a public community, so you would need to build a group, and then underneath that, so I always consider this as like, the group is, well, because I'm a writer, so I speak like this. Okay, to me, the group is the book. It's the book cover, right? Inside the book cover, you have the outline. Well, inside the outline, you have a breakdown. Well, that's the subgroups, right? So you can have different subgroups. And inside of those subgroups, you have different paragraphs, right? That's your different stuff. So there's, it's people, I think a lot of times people are just like, but there's so many clicks. Well, you not really. If you go where you want to be, you don't have to click very much, right? Because then you go to the dashboard and it's right in front of you. So
Right.
there's not really a whole lot of clicks. But, Matt says this all the time. When you go to any website, if you're taking somebody's course, you got to create, you still got to create your username, password, and all that stuff. So it's still the same thing. It's no different. It's just different. People aren't
Facebook,
used to.
yeah. Even going
Yeah,
to Facebook and making a Facebook group, you don't know how to do it right away. It takes time to learn it. Any new
exactly.
platform is going to take time to learn. But what's different about Convene is it also inside your group, you can make announcements and contact all your group members via email, which
Yeah,
is great too. Like you would have to pay for separately to get an email.
like a
Mark,
CRM. Yeah, and we are doing. He's going to be implementing, or I should say, Convene is going to be implementing CRM too. So it's literally going to have everything that we need.
yeah.
Um,
Instead
so there's
for all these separate
yes,
subscriptions, you can
exactly.
it's an all-in-one platform where you get all your business needs in one space.
Yeah. And it is important, just to kind of reiterate, you guys, it is free to join.
Yes.
Free, totally free to join. If somebody sends you their link, it is free. Okay. The only time you pay for anything is if you want to create paid content. That's the only time. But if you just want to have, like you said, you want to have a group that you're just sharing information, or you want to have a group that, like, maybe you meet with a bunch of people weekly and you want to have a way to keep in touch with them for the rest of the week, right? Maybe you have a free group for that. You don't have to pay anything for that. So it's really just what you need, which is why it is important to get on a call with one of us that have been here a little bit longer, and or talk to whoever referred you and just say, hey, this is what I'm looking to do. What does that look like for me? Right.
Right.
And then we can tell you. We can tell you exactly.
But if you
Brenda
just
says
want
this.
to be a contributor, we're definitely looking for contributors, and it's completely free
Yes.
to come on, create a group, share your knowledge, build an experience, share your experience. You can do that today for completely free.
Yeah, for
And we
sure.
appreciate it because you're going to help share that knowledge within the group, help build out the group, and bring people who also are passionate about sharing their knowledge on as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Matt says just wait until Convene 3.0 is being built as we speak. Mobile app and so much more. So for everybody that was like, I need an app, it's
But
coming.
wait, there's more.
He said, but wait, there's more. That's funny. Anybody else have any questions? And Brenda says she has the life community. That is an entrepreneur community that is also free to join. So, like we said earlier, when you come onto the platform, even if you just come to the health and wellness community, please remember there's like 50 more out there. Okay. I'm just throwing a number out there, but there's a lot. Okay. We have a lot of people doing some really great things. So
Yeah.
please, go to that tab that says view all communities, do the drop down, view what's there. You don't have to join them all, right? But there's going to be something else. I guarantee you, either you or someone else is going to need something that someone is doing on this platform. So, definitely explore and see what's there for you.
Yeah, the life community is great. Brenda's the solutionist. So if you need a solution to something, you want to contact Brenda.
Definitely. Definitely.
Hey, not for nothing. I usually don't like to toot my own horn, but if you look up in that
I
left-hand
was
corner
about to
there,
say.
I'll let you take it away.
Doc does this out of the kindness of his heart. So we ask that you donate for his time and his efforts and his expertise. And we're using his stuff. So just throwing that out.
That's a super simplified way to put it, but yeah, folks, I a dollar here, a dollar there. That's all I ask for. It just helps kind of keep the production side of the house going.
Appreciate it, Doc.
Here for you guys.
Brenda said, Dr. Mel and Jodi helped me so much. You have to go check them out if you need help with your wellness. Oh, thanks, Brenda. And we'll send all the entrepreneurs to you.
So Doc has his podcast community, and
Doc has the podcast community. You have a podcast. When do you do your podcast?
So my podcast launches every other Thursday. I put out a new episode, me and my sister. But we're inside Doc's community, the podcast community. And if you're looking to learn how to podcast, Doc also has a course inside there for beginners who are beginning to podcast. So definitely something to join.
It's an amazing group. It's an amazing community. Believe me, I know.
Well, we're glad that you let it up, Doc. I have the Breaking Barriers Now podcast in there. I've actually stopped that for now. I'm probably going to start it back either the end of this year or the beginning of next year. I'm having to create that work-life harmony. I don't say balance, but harmony. So I decided to kind of take a step back and just help people with their podcast because, here we go, right? So, we have a new guest. We have a new guest.
The baby. Oh, my goodness.
Omar just joined the podcast community. He's got a podcast as well. So you guys, like I said, come in, join different communities, check out what's there. If you have a podcast, please come join the podcast community because, again, that's a great way to hit a little bit differently with people and actually have people come in later and have a discussion with you, right? Because we can listen to podcasts all day long, but, it's great when you can actually have access to the host, maybe the guest, right? So that just gives the ability to do that. So absolutely. You want to introduce our new guest, our new health and wellness community leader? No.
This is the Convene baby, the first Convene baby.
I love it.
So cute. So cute.
You got to catch up, kid. You got to get them drooling numbers up like me.
I know, right? Well, Mel, do you have any final thoughts? I know we're getting ready to wrap up here. Do you have any final thoughts?
No. If you have any other further questions, you can always reach out to us directly, or you can even just hop on that Thursday call. We'll be there every Thursday at 4:30. You can find all the calls in the Convene newsletter, as well as we have our private Facebook group, health and wellness community.
Yeah, I was gonna say we have that in there. And then I turned mine into kind of a similar thing too. So I have the event in there. But you can also check the announcements when you go into the community. Check the announcements. You can get the Zoom call information there as well. I made a graphic. What was that last week? I think. So it's the same information. So go in there, grab the information, jump on the calls, and just, even if you don't want to create anything, come on the Monday calls. Come on the Thursday calls, right? Get to know the people because like she said earlier, you might not think you want to create anything now, but eventually next year, maybe, who knows, right? So keep coming back. I always tell people thank you for showing up, but please come back. Please keep coming back because that's how you get to know the people who are here. That's how you get to know the platform, right? You're never going to learn it if you never try to be a part of it. So that I'm just going to throw that out there right now, right? And so it's just great to be around like-minded people. So if you want to be around people who are, trying to have an impact on the rest of the world and in their different or areas of expertise, this is where you belong. So we just ask that you become a part of it. Please don't just sit back and watch. We want you to actually be a part of it.
I want you to think Nike and just do it.
Just do it. I know. People ask me so many questions. I'm like, can you just come on? Just show up.
Ladies, I'd like to thank you. You did a fantastic job tonight. Amazing. The knowledge was always there, but I always feel a little bit less intelligent when I'm around such amazingly smart people. But hey, tune in next week, guys. If I'm not mistaken, the great Carmack, some of you might be old enough to remember that, Brenda Warren. Who's going to be our guest next week? Oh, Brenda Warren. There it is.
There we go.
Anyway, thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.